Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio. I'm your host, Sarah Banta, and I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. I believe that your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself regardless of what chronic diseases you may have. I'm here for you to answer your questions and bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. Today, my guest will be talking about diet and exercise, gaining and losing weight, and how they relate to physical, mental, spiritual health. And I know better than anyone that you really need a strong physical foundation to work on your mental growth, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing the body in the proper way. You need a strong physical foundation of health in order to gain that willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements and technologies and protocols at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I dive into an array of health conditions, their causes and symptoms, and how to address them naturally so you can get to your optimal state. I've spent thousands of dollars and hours of my time biohacking different supplements and diets that don't work so that you don't have to. If you have any health issues you need help with, you can email me directly through the website. I personally read every single one. And Accelerated Health Products is the sponsor of this show. So as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. I also want to mention that I've teamed up with Drew Manning from Fit to Fat to Fit, as seen on the Dr. Oz show and the Jay Leno show, to give away his Keto Kickstart program and my Accelerated Power Bundle, which is a value of almost $800. You get coaching with Drew Manning, my Accelerated Silver, which is the only alkaline silver solution that is made with Scalar technology to enhance its efficacy and absorption. It boosts the immune system and helps devitalize viruses, bacteria, and all foreign pathogens. You get the Accelerate Iodine, which is the most absorbable iodine available and is also made with Scalar technology to improve the metabolism and thyroid health, detox the body of heavy metals and radiation, and improve all cellular health. You get the Accelerated Keto, which is the most comprehensive keto supplement that not only it kicks you into ketosis within 30 minutes, but gives you sustained physical and mental energy for up to 12 hours and improves your liver health as well, which most keto supplements do not do. And lastly, you get the Accelerated Ancient Salt. When you're in ketosis, your body lets go of excess water weight, and with that water goes electrolytes. Accelerated Ancient Salt not only is free of toxic materials and plastics like most salts, but it also is scalar charged to further detox your body naturally. As a bonus, it tastes amazing. So now to the good stuff. Brad Kearns, 55 years old, is a New York Times best-selling author, a Guinness Book World Record-setting professional speed golfer, number 3 world-ranked master track and field high jumper, and a former national champion, and at number 3 world-ranked professional triathlete. He has written 20 books on diet, health, peak performance, and ancestral living, and is a popular speaker and the face of the Primal Blueprint on online educational courses. The Keto Reset Diet became a New York Times bestseller, and he is the host of the Get Over Yourself podcast, which I listen to every week, covering healthy living, peak performance, and personal growth. Welcome, Brad. How are you this morning?
Oh my gosh, Sarah, I'm so excited to be on the show and to give you a rest from that incredible intro. My gosh, I'm so excited about your supplements now. And your opening statement, I totally buy into. You got to have that physical health to gain the momentum and the willpower to heal everything else. That's a beautiful starting point for everyone. So glad to be here.
True. Well, it's so true. And when I hit rock bottom and I started working with my practitioner, he said, Sarah, we're not even going to touch your mental health right now. We need to build your body up. And that's what we did. And then we started peeling the onion, and it was one thing after another. And it was a slow process. And I, like you, which I'm so excited you're on the show, is I was a competitive athlete in high school. I rode crew. I played volleyball. I was on a team with Misty May. So we were top ranked in the country. And for crew, I was second in the nation. So I had that competitive nature in high school, but I didn't want to live in the glory days as an adult. I wanted to keep going with my progress and living that optimal health. I'm not doing doing the competitive stuff you're doing, but I'm competing essentially against my best self. Is what I say, whether it's in my business or as a mom or in my athletic endeavors. And that's why I listen to you every week, and I love what you bring to the table. It's so inspiring.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. And I like that example of it, at a certain point in life, it's really awesome to be on that competitive volleyball team with Misty May, and you're living and breathing the sport of volleyball, and you're dreaming about it every night. But then, we have to grow up and live a real life and have other goals and responsibilities come into play. But if you can keep some of that competitive intensity that you learned and was such a great, growing experience in your life, if you can preserve that throughout life and apply it in other directions in an appropriate manner, in an age appropriate manner. In my case, I used to be a triathlete, training all day and traveling around the world doing these crazy races, which I would never imagine doing now because it's too much for me and it's not interesting, but I can still achieve my little crazy goals that I set for myself right now. And they mean just as much to me as they did when I was a person on the world circuit, racing on ESPN and trying to win prize money and all that stuff that made it seem so important and so, amazing at the time. And now I'm by myself in an empty high school stadium trying to clear the high jump bar. But I get that same feeling inside when I achieve a goal as I did when I was winning a big race. And that's, I think, the magic of, keeping that athletic mindset and that athletic disposition throughout your life, whoever you are, instead of, like you said, just sitting back and reminiscing about the glory days, which is kind of the default approach. And we're sitting and watching other people perform on TV, on YouTube, instead of doing something ourselves that's challenging every day.
Yeah, I totally agree. I want to just touch on your history and when you kind of hit rock bottom, and because you talk so much now about optimizing health, and as we get older, it's so important. We can get away with a lot more when we're younger, but during your college years, I believe it's when you kind of hit a rock bottom, or things weren't going the way you thought. And I'd love the lessons you learned. Can we touch on those?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was a young runner, a distance runner in high school, and I got really serious about it. I had a great peer group, and we trained really hard. And pretty soon, I was, achieving some good results. I went to the National Junior Olympics finals when I was 16 years old, and I was ranked in the nation. And in California, I took 9th in the state championships, which is a huge meet, and it allows you to envision a college running career. And then I went off to UC Santa Barbara, and I got sick or injured 5 seasons in a row, and my body, my health, my spirit just completely broke down because of the regimented training program that was so common and is still common today with these young runners. They just take them and they put them into a survival of the fittest condition, where if you have 21 kids out there who are really competitive and train really hard, you're going to get 4 or 5 of them that are going to do really well. You're going to get 10 of them that are mediocre and perform below their potential. And then you're going to get, what did I leave? 5 or 6 or 7 of them who are going to completely fall apart. So that was me. And it was so devastating because as a young person, you form your identity and your self-esteem around your athletic accomplishments. We all know that. The high school quarterback is the centerpiece of the social center. And since I couldn't make the football team, I went out there and ran my heart out around the track, running circles around until I had given everything. and it was such a wonderful sense of accomplishment, and it framed my life. And then all of a sudden it's taken away from me, and I'm sitting there, with a painful leg where I can't even walk down the street without pain. And I was done. I was spit out the back window. And that's when I had to have kind of a reckoning and realize that maybe it was time to develop other aspects of my character, my personality, to try to detach my self-esteem from
Mhm.
the outcome of what I was doing. And so, having to grow up in that manner and to come back to sport and athletics with a refreshing attitude where you're enjoying the experience. You're just glad to get out there and run 6 miles through the forest because you couldn't run for 3 months before that. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of a nice turning point that I talk about and write about. And I found the wonderful new sport of triathlon. This was back in the 80s. So there wasn't much going on in that sport, but everyone who was participating was so excited to string together swimming, biking, and running. And it was such an amazing new challenge where you had to get the equipment and learn how to be a bike racer, and also learn how to jump into the ocean and swim toward a buoy where maybe you previously only swam in a swimming pool looking at the black line. So I was totally engrossed with this new challenge. And I went into the career world after graduation, but I only lasted 11 weeks in the accounting firm. And then I just started dreaming of being a triathlete and trying to make it on the pro circuit. And it was a ridiculous dream because I was just a kid racing during my college studies. But I worked so hard and I loved it so much that, that passion drove me to, an opportunity to compete as a professional triathlete.
I love the sport of triathlete because for my son's definitely an endurance kid, and he used to play water polo, and so he's obviously a great swimmer, but he just is a great runner. And when he was even just in third grade, he would do great in these little mini triathlons. And I said, Jackson, this could be your sport, because many runners can't swim and many swimmers can't run. And, you're probably going to have a weak leg of one of the three sections, right? But he's great at bike riding too. And now he rows crew, which is a constant motion. And so it's prone to injury, just like running. And that's something that we have to talk about, making sure he's stretching and cross training and lifting weights to make sure, he's 18 years old. So his body can take a lot more than you or me. But at the same time, it's just like the running where it can be pounding. And I wanted to talk, maybe we can get into your jogging 2.0, because especially as we're getting older, you can't just keep pounding the pavement, and it's not giving you the results that you want. And I know so many women, I know you speak mostly to men, but so many women that will go out and run 8 miles, and they're eating the standard American diet, or they think they're eating well during the day, and then they have their bottle of wine at night, and they're not getting the results physically that they want. But why don't we talk about your concept of jogging 2.0?
Oh, thanks, Sarah. That's a pretty new one. And, running's been part of my life since I was a kid, like I said. And my mornings have basically started heading out the door for a quick jog. A very low, comfortable pace so I don't get tired. And we should talk about that too, because a lot of the joggers of the world are exceeding that aerobic heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
And, now it's come to popularity that the best way to improve as an endurance athlete is to train at a comfortable pace where you're burning fat rather than sugar. But this has been my daily routine for decades, and it's like nothing. It's like getting up, and most people drink coffee and do the crossword puzzle, and I head out the door for a steady state jog. But just this year, I've started to have these insights and this kind of sense that I wanted to do something different, and I wasn't feeling it anymore. So now my jog has turned into a more varied and challenging workout where I do jog a bit, and then I'll go do some jumping drills, some flexibility, mobility drills. It might be just something like, deep lunges while I'm walking. Then I'll jump up and down onto a rock 10 times and then walk to recover because I've just done something that's a bit strenuous. Even doing hover lunges where you're just going up and down in place and trying to do, a one-legged squat is extremely strenuous. and it requires a little bit of recovery. So maybe I'm out there for 30 or 40 minutes still, or 20 minutes, or whatever I have to devote that day. But it's broken up between walking, jogging, doing something that's building my skills for my other goals like high jumping, and then I'm back in the door. Now, here's the thing. If I was gone for 30 minutes, I'm getting an excellent cardiovascular workout for the duration of that effort, even when I'm walking, because I'm still breathing hard. I'm still at least doubling my heart rate from when I'm sitting in bed resting. And so the sense that you have to peg yourself at this steady state to get a cardiovascular workout is now being refuted by lots of science and lots of user experience, where the general fitness template in the world is to go into a gym, get on a stair machine, and climb for however long it takes while you're watching the coverage of the wildfires or whatever you're watching on television. And in most cases, people are exceeding what is a healthy training heart rate when they're doing their cardio anyway. So what they're getting in that 30 or 40 minutes is a workout that's slightly too stressful to promote aerobic development. It's slightly too stressful or too intense to maximize fat burning. And instead, you're burning a little bit too much glucose. You're stimulating a little bit of stress hormone production, too much stress hormone production. And over time, if you're in this cardio pattern, Mark Sisson coined it chronic cardio back in 2006. And now people are starting to embrace this idea that can be too much and lead to sugar cravings, inability to reduce excess body fat, and you kind of get locked into this pattern of burning carbohydrates and then eating them in the diet, waking up the next day, setting out to burn 600 more calories, and then you're going to eat 600 extra calories that day on account of doing what you thought was just a simple Stairmaster workout or a spin class or whatever you're doing to get your cardio. So rethinking cardio, I think, is an important notion now, and doing things that are either super easy or adding that high intensity component to your training program, which a lot of people completely ignore in favor of just hitting that stair machine or the spin class every time. So it's kind of this idea that you're burning fat with a really, really comfortable workout. For most people, it's a jog walk or a fast walk. When we talk about the calculation of 180 minus your age, that's Phil Maffetone's aerobic maximum formula. So however old you are, if you subtract your age from 180, if you're 40 years old, 180 minus 40 is 140. So that's your maximum training pace to achieve a true aerobic session where you're burning maximum fat calories per minute and you're not burning that much glucose. Anything beyond that 140 for that 40-year-old person is now drifting into the glucose burning zones, and that's going to stimulate appetite, cause glycogen depletion, and you're going to eat more food throughout the day and find a way to become lazier and less active because of the moderately too stressful workout that you did in the morning.
It's such a fine balance. Number one, I cannot get my heart rate high enough. I know I just have a low pulse rate. Even, I don't know if you are familiar with the fitness regime, the orange theory, but they actually want you in the orange or the red zone. I could never get there. As hard as I worked out, my heart rate was always low. So I never have that issue. But how often do you incorporate the high intensity training versus the low intensity and keeping your heart rate in the lower zone?
Yeah, great question. Thanks. So I see the biggest flaws in the mainstream approach to fitness is those workouts that are slightly too strenuous for the person, where they feel kind of buzzed and excited at the end that they did an awesome workout and they high-five their neighbor in the spin class. But over the course of the day or over the course of the next 36 to 48 hours, they tend to feel a little drag ass during times when they're sitting at their desk in the afternoon. So those steady state workouts that are slightly too strenuous. And then the other huge flaw is that we never open up the throttle and perform at maximum intensity. And this seems to be especially the case with females, where they go in there, they're looking past the weight room and seeing these guys grunting and throwing weights around, and that doesn't feel like their deal. And they're not out there running intervals at the track with the track team or playing an intense volleyball practice. And so we're missing this entire other component of fitness, which is to put your body under maximum resistance load and perform brief explosive movements. And so these workouts can last a very, very short time and have a tremendous benefit to your overall conditioning, especially your fat loss goals, things like that. For example, sprinting, especially weight-bearing sprinting, if you have the capability of doing so, or hopefully can work toward that if you have to do low-impact sprinting at first. But these short-duration sprint workouts, where you're working hard for only 10 to 20 seconds, but you're giving maximum or near maximum output, have a profound influence on your metabolic function for up to 72 hours after the workout. Even if you did only 4 or 5 or 6 minutes of total high intensity activity, if you add up whatever the intervals you did, it's going to affect your fat burning. It's going to turbocharge your fat burning for the next 3 days. And so if you sprinkle these in once in a while and make sure that you do them correctly, because we have a whole nother segment of the fitness population that does go out there and hit it hard, and they do those hard spin workouts or those CrossFit sessions or those Orange Theory sessions, but they're working hard for 42 minutes or an hour and 12 minutes with their highly motivated trainer who's pushing them to do another set. And you can always get through these workouts with the fight or flight response and complete them and high five your neighbor in the next seat. But over time, if the workout lasts too long, if you're asked to perform at high intensity for too long of a duration or for too many repeat intervals, that's going to make you tired. Breakdown, burnout, illness, and injury is the inevitable consequence. And so many people, you're nodding your head. Everyone who's tried it can nod their head that, oh yeah, I did the P90X and I lasted for 7 weeks. And on the 8th week, I got bronchitis and I fell apart and I haven't put that DVD in for 5 years. And so the short stuff can last for the whole workout can last for 10, 12, 15 minutes, not counting the warm up and all that, but you can hit it hard for very short duration and achieve fantastic results. So now I'm really big on this concept called micro workouts, where you sprinkle in these short bursts of high intensity effort throughout your busy day. And it's not actually a workout where you're getting dressed and getting in the car and driving to the gym or, meeting your friends out at the running track and doing a proper workout. This is just something to break up these prolonged periods of stillness that most of us experience in our daily routine. So it could be something as simple as getting up in your work cubicle or at home. A lot of people are working at home, which is even more awesome because these are so convenient now. Getting up and doing a set of 20 deep squats and then heading back to your screen. Yeah. And if you can, let's say, make a commitment to sprinkle these into your life over the course of your work week, even if it's only once or twice a day, and you do a set of 20 deep squats twice a day, 5 days a week, so you're doing 10 extra sets a week, outside of whatever you're doing for working out and whatever you're doing at the gym and writing in your logbook, if you can throw these in, over time, they have a massive cumulative effect on your fitness. So whatever you do when you're doing a proper workout is going to be so much better because you've raised that platform from which you launch all your workouts, because now you're increasing activity just as you walk around the house and live your busy day. It's not too much to ask to take a minute away from your screen. And in fact, research shows, this is what's fascinating, is in as little as 15 minutes of stillness, our bodies experience a noticeable decrease in glucose tolerance and an increase in insulin resistance. In 15 minutes, we stop burning fat well, and we lose a little bit of cognitive function. The blood flow, the oxygen delivery to the brain declines just from what we consider to be normal, or that's one email when we're working hard and concentrating. So if you can kind of take these brief breaks, let's say a minute every 20 minutes, not too much to ask, you will turbocharge fat burning all day. You will increase your productivity and your cognitive function. And of course, you're going to improve your fitness over time. A good friend of mine, Dude Spellings in Austin, Texas, he's been on my Get Over Yourself podcast a couple times. When his gym closed in March, he was pretty bummed and he didn't want to get out of shape. So he set himself a goal and he put on a simple timer on his computer to go off every hour. And he said, I decided I was going to do 30 push-ups on the hour throughout his 8-hour workday. And he's a fit guy. Anyone who's fit can say a set of 30 push-ups is no big deal. If it is, then let's say it's 10 push-ups, right? But for dude, 30 push-ups takes about a minute. So on the hour, he dropped for 30 push-ups. Guess what happened 5 months later when he's doing 8 sets of 30 push-ups every single day at work? He's had a huge improvement and breakthrough in his fitness, body composition, all these things that people are complaining about because their gym closed and now they're getting out of shape. And he's had the opposite experience just by setting a silly alarm on his computer and taking 1 minute to hit the deck and do the push-ups. An incredible story, and it's so within reach of all of us. So whatever that feels like to you, and hey, if it's just some yoga stretches and you're want to kind of ease into this thing, taking those frequent breaks. But if you can find something that's explosive and high intensity, oh my gosh, it has an amazing impact on your fitness. I have a pull-up bar that's in my closet door. So if I have to go into the closet storage area to get a new Post-it note or to get a pair of socks or put something away, I hit a set of 12 pull-ups every time. And that might be, 8 times a week, which is nothing, right? But that's still 100 more pull-ups and lifting my body over a bar 100 times more every single week, just because I've set this into habit. And of course, it doesn't disturb the times when I'm going out there to do a proper high intensity workout. My arms aren't sore because I did 12 pull-ups the previous day, but I do, again, launch from that higher platform so that my workouts aren't as stressful, my injury risk is lower, all those great things, because I'm a more active person.
I love that, and I'm starting to incorporate that because of you. I was always of the thought that I just need to pound out my hour of cumulative cardio in the morning, and I didn't want to even stop at 30 minutes to walk for a second because I thought I would, waste my workout. But now I'm starting to sprinkle that in, and even a 15-minute walk after dinner has made a huge difference. But one thing that I've noticed is my 3 kids now on Zoom at home, they are dead in the afternoon, and I'm going to have them start taking little breaks in between their 30 or 45-minute classes because they're in front of their computer for class, then they stay in their seat for their homework. Whereas at school, they would take breaks and walk down the halls and talk to people a little bit and move their body a little bit. And their mental health wasn't suffering like it is right now. It is drastic. I mean, I talk about a study just under this roof right now. I've got 3 case studies that are going on. By the time it's dinner time, they're sitting at the table and we say, how's everyone doing between 1 and a 10? And last night, 3 of us were at a 2. So we're not thriving right now. And that's part of it. So, and all 3 of my kids work out every day. They're in sports, they row crew. And so they're doing a workout, but it's that long, prolonged time at their desk that is causing an issue. Brad, we need to take a short commercial break right now, and we'll come back and talk about your morning routines, because the importance of morning routine is essential for me, I know. So I want to definitely focus on that, and we will be right back.
Are you wanting to optimize your physical, mental, and emotional health? Visit www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products to detox, reset, and rebuild your immune system naturally, and to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit with cutting-edge supplements and solutions. Get Sarah Banta's personal advice on a protocol just right for you. That's www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com.
Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio. I'm your host, Sarah Banta, the owner of Accelerated Health Products. And today we have the host of Get Over Yourself podcast, Brad Kearns. Brad, we were talking about movement. Can I hear you okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We are back.
There you are. But I wanted to talk about morning routine. And this is something that I've always prioritized. And I am selfish. I need my morning routine. I don't let anyone interrupt it, but I love it also because it gets my day started regardless if I pop out of bed or if I drag out of bed, and it gets my mindset, but then no one else can take it away from me the rest of the day. And that's also what I love about it. I get in what I need to get in, and then the rest of the day darts can be thrown at me, and I have to be, more flexible, and I'm okay with it since I had this time to myself. But I wanted to talk about what you do during your morning routine and what you get out of it.
Well, Sarah, I'm so glad to hear that frames your day, and it's such a wonderful way to start. And I have to say that I'm someone who has never prioritized a routine in the morning. I'm a go with the flow guy in every way, shape, and form in my life. My career was, athlete and then coach and entrepreneur. And so I never had to answer to anybody or get onto the freeway at a certain time and be anywhere at any time. And my workouts would be varied. Even when I was training on the pro circuit, Tuesday and Thursday, we'd go swimming first off. And then the other day we'd get up and go for a bike ride. And I would always putt around the house and do whatever came into my eyesight. Maybe it was the laundry one day. Maybe one day I'd make a smoothie, and the other day I wouldn't eat till 12 noon. And so I've always been that way, where I just go with the flow. And I started to put this idea into place in early 2017. So I'm now about 4 years running into this flexibility, mobility, core strengthening routine. And I got to say, it's absolutely changed my life, because I have now an anchor every single day. I have not missed a single day. And I can't say that about anything that I've ever done. I don't even call my mom every day. Oh my gosh. And she's by herself here and during the quarantine. But I can say, and I have great pride saying, that this is something I do every day and sharing it with my audience and anyone who's willing to listen, because when you can repeat a behavior, repetition and endurance creates a habit. And so once something transitions over from needing focus, motivation, willpower, when it transitions from that into habit, then it's automatic. It doesn't require any of that tremendous energy that it takes to apply willpower to your various other goals and responsibilities and duties in daily life, where you have to take that deep breath and go, I got to take the garbage out because they're coming tomorrow, right? And so this has been really fun to notice in a non-habitual person how this thing is locked in so tightly. And now if I happen to have a day where I miss this flexibility, mobility, core strengthening routine, I really feel funny until I go and get it done. And so some of those times, if I'm jumping on an early morning flight or something interrupted my flow, I'm going to get it done at 10 a.m. or whatever. So it's something that started really simple. And I think that's a really important point for the audience to embrace, is that don't set your goals too high and too daunting to the extent that you're not going to be doing it 3 months from now. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take 5 minutes every single morning. And I started out doing the routine in bed. So I'd make sure that I was going to finish it before I even got up and went to reach for my phone or something. And then I realized how much easier it is to do core exercise when you're sinking into a mattress rather than on the ground. So if you watch my YouTube video, Brad Kearns morning routine, I think it's called, it's built up in views, but now my thing is much tougher. And when I finally had my filmmaker, Brian, he's our primal guy that does these great videos for Mark Sisson and I, and, really healthy living guy himself. He came over to film it one day, and I said, hey, will you film my 5-minute morning routine in addition to all this other stuff we're filming? Because I want to tell people how cool it is. So we filmed it, and it actually took 12 minutes. But I thought it was 5 minutes. So I said, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes every morning and stretch my legs a little bit so I don't get injured when I go sprint. So that was my first thing, was like, I loved it so much. And I had locked into habit so much that it was actually a 12-minute morning routine. So I'm saying, if you're not doing anything for your body first thing in the morning, commit to 5 minutes. If it's the yoga sun salute where you stretch, you bend, you do something really simple, that's fine. Mine was hitting the deck and doing these leg scissors and frog legs and all these different moves that help with the hip flexors and the hamstring mobility, flexibility. Your core is working the whole time. I made it up myself. You can watch the YouTube video, but you can make up some stuff that you like to do that you've learned in the gym. But if you can do that first thing, oh my God, it opens you up to be, I believe, a more disciplined and focused human throughout the day. So what I've done over time is, you got to keep it completely template and do the exact same thing every day. This is not a time to be creative and say, oh, let me try this, let me try that. You can write it down on a piece of paper, and this is what you do. 35 scissor kickouts, 20 frog legs in each direction, 15 leg swings side to side, whatever it is. And you don't have to really use cognitive energy to complete the routine. It's so simple and it's mindless, just like brushing your teeth. I'm sure you cover all sides of your mouth when you're brushing your teeth without thinking, okay, upper left side, inner molars, it's just habit. And so those are the two components. Make it simple, easy, short enough, and doable that you can do it every single day, and do the exact same thing every day so that you don't have to apply that creativity. You can use that in other ways throughout the day. But what I've done over time is mix and match and kind of modify the template according to my needs and desires, and then add in something else, and then add in something else, and then add in another thing, because now it's so habitual that it's very easy for me to devote more time. So now my morning routine lasts for a minimum of 35 minutes. And sometimes I do some optional add-ons, like I'll flow it right into an actual workout, because I'm spending so much time in that fitness mindset and in the fitness area. I do it in the backyard. Even if it's freezing cold, I go out there and get a cold exposure experience. And then I finish my routine with that, hopefully now becoming famous, plunge into the chest freezer. So I do cold exposure every morning at the end of the morning routine. And so I have this little tidy package where I'm doing something for my body, for myself. It feels like a meditative experience to me because it's so sequential, and all I'm doing is counting through the sequences. And so I kind of just lock into focusing on exactly what I'm doing. My mind's not wandering to what's going to hit me during my busy workday when I flip open my laptop lid. This is a time to just count, to think about my body, my muscles, and I will say how important that is, because at times I've headed out to the morning routine with a podcast playing, or with a phone call going, or whatever it is. And what happens is, if I'm listening to the podcast, I lose count. And the penalty for losing count is I got to start over. So when you've done 35 hamstring kickouts and you're on 27, and then you forget and you think it's 37. And so you have to concentrate on what you're doing and get that nice mind-body experience of doing something fitness related and being all in with the experience. And then you go on, and just like you described, whatever happens the rest of the day, at least you have that done. And it's a great sense of satisfaction. And it also puts you in a proactive mindset. We have research published in our recent book, Keto for Life. Mark Sisson and I forget the name of the psychologist, but she said, once you go into reactive mindset, it's very, very difficult to extricate and get back to the high level thinking, strategic thinking, problem solving, that wise mind that we talk about, where you're reflecting on your to-do list and you're reprioritizing the different errands that you have to do that day. And you're thinking, how can I best spend my time? But when you reach for that phone, which 84% of Americans do as their first act every single morning,
Yes,
you're in reactive mode. Oh, you're getting your text messages. Oh, you're looking at the news update or the celebrity gossip or whatever's going on. And now you're reacting to things. You've left your wise mind. And it's a very difficult journey to get back, to drop the phone, go back into the relaxed, awareness mindset. And so, of course, we're in that mindset when we're doing something like a deliberate morning ritual. And guess what? Same thing is true if you're going into the kitchen, brewing a cup of tea, dropping the bag in there, taking your dog out down the driveway to get the newspaper. Those are all great morning routines too, but I'm advocating for something physical and a bit challenging, because then over time, just like I talked about with the micro workouts, that's my first micro workout, is this elaborate morning routine.
So real quick, I want to touch on, we have so much to cover. I wish I could have an hour and a half, 2 hours with you. You mentioned the word anchor, and I wanted to just emphasize that, because during this time of quarantine, when people really are suffering from mental health issues and depression and anxiety, that morning routine, giving you that anchor is so important because it gives you a little bit of control in a world that is out of our control right now. So I just want to emphasize that. And so whatever that morning routine means to you, start little, start simple, like Brad's talking about, and just get it going. And then you can go from there. I want to touch quickly on the cold plunge, but then I really want to get into the MOFO and your diet. But cold plunge, not all of us have an ice chest. I'm a huge believer in sauna therapy and cold therapy. I have a pool, but the pool in summertime is 70 to 75 degrees here in Southern California because I can't get it cold enough. So I try to take a cold shower. In the wintertime, it can get down below 60 degrees. Am I getting any benefit from not getting down to 35 degrees?
Yeah, I think the cutoff is anything below 60. If you can get some exposure there, you're going to get that hormonal response. And most people, most times of the year, you turn that handle all the way to cold on your shower, and you're going to get a sense of what cold therapy is like. And of course, you can start that way. And just the ultimate level of sophistication is the plug-in chest freezer. So I have a 15 cubic foot chest freezer that's filled with water, and I have it on a timer. So it operates 2 to 4 hours a day, and will keep that water in the high 30s, which is my preference. A lot of people like to do cold exposure in the 40s or the 50s. I don't want to spend too long in there. So I'm getting that water as cold as I possibly can. And I get it used to be 3 minutes, and now it's 5 to 6 minutes because I've acclimated over time very comfortably. And so when I talk about this subject to most people, they'll offer up a sarcastic comment or say, oh, not for me. But I want to make really clear that this is not some torture fest because I'm Mr. Stud Guy who thinks it's really cool to get icicles on my beard and wear them around all day. This is a strategic hormonal experience where you're doing therapeutic cold exposure, not to the extent that it brings, true lasting discomfort to your body or puts your immune system at risk or anything. It's an immune system booster. It's been validated by science that there's a winter polar bear swimming club in one of the Scandinavian countries, and that population gets vastly fewer upper respiratory infections than the control population. So you talk about that adage that don't put on more clothing or you're going to catch a cold. It's actually the opposite. If you can do some therapeutic cold exposure, especially throughout the winter months, you're going to have a more resilient immune system. So that's kind of cool. But to get started on this, all you need to do is get in your usual morning shower and then deliberately crank that handle all the way over to cold and try to last 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and see what it's like to get that nice little, and everyone's done it at some point, right? We've all jumped into a cold river or lake or something on vacation and, screamed and then run back into the sauna if you're from Finland, or run back into a warm towel. So we all know that exhilarating feeling that we get from brief cold exposure. And that's all we're talking about here. In fact, a really commonly cited study from Finland is that a 20-second immersion into water that's 40 degrees Fahrenheit results in a boost to the prominent mood elevating focusing hormone called norepinephrine. It results in a spike of 200 to 300% that lasts for an hour afterward. And so we're in this heightened emotional hormonal state where all of a sudden we're focused, energized, we feel great, kind of like the same thing that happens from a cup of coffee. Coffee releases those adrenal group hormones. And so when you have that spike from just 20 seconds at 40 Fahrenheit, that's a pretty fantastic way to start your day. Now, you asked the question, what if you can only get the water down to 60 in the pool in Southern California? Maybe it's a minute that you really want to spend in there to get that full experience. So the sweet spot is get the heck out of there before you start shivering. That's the prominent rule that Dr. Kelly Starrett said to me. He goes, look, if you're staying in longer than that, you're just showing off, man. So it's, it's that precise cold exposure. I'm not going to say it feels super pleasant to jump into a tub of 38 degree water. But again, I've become habituated to it, to where I jump in and I immediately initiate a deliberate cycle of 20 deep diaphragmatic breaths. So again, it's a deeply meditative experience because I'm just focusing on my breath and I'm controlling my breath. And probably some of your viewers have heard of Wim Hof and the great feats of cold exposure and endurance that he's performed. And he's using his breath control training to get even these novice people to perform magnificent cold exposure feats out of nowhere after being trained for a day or two. So we all have this capability of overriding that initial shock response that we get when someone dumps a bucket of cold water on you when you're taking a shower in the dorm, the old prank that used to happen or whatever. We scream, we start hyperventilating, and we have to get out right away. But if you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to try this crazy thing that I heard on Sarah's show, and I'm going to turn the handle to cold and try to take 30 seconds or a minute of cold at the end of my shower. Before you turn that handle, I want you to initiate some deep diaphragmatic breaths where you're going to stay in control of your breathing no matter what happens, no matter what temperature the water comes out of the faucet. And so if you can maintain this cycle of deep diaphragmatic breathing, people like Ben Greenfield talk about doing the box breath or some more advanced stuff, but all I'm asking you to do is to maintain that commitment to taking deep breaths rather than going, oh my gosh, okay? Then you can withstand far more than you ever thought possible. And I've taken people over to my chest freezer. They're interested. They want to start. They're like, okay, what do I do? Okay, you got to take some deep breaths. Okay, they'll put their feet in. They'll start to lower down and they'll go, oh my God. And immediately they lose control of their breath. They go into panic breathing and they have to get out. And if you can just take that simple exercise, get people to come over to your pool in the winter and they can lower in slowly, they can jump right in, whatever you're doing. If you can maintain control of your breath, you will get this wonderful cold exposure experience. I don't know if viewers are familiar with Dr. Jack Kruse's website. It's pretty heavily scientific, but he has some amazing research about cold thermogenesis. And he identifies in particular the postmenopausal female has a strong need to become cold adapted to optimize those hormones rather than suffer from a lot of the drawbacks of menopause and the changes that women complain about. So this getting cold adapted, he calls it, is really important for all of our health. And it's another example of hormesis or hormetic stressors, brief natural stressors that have a long-term positive impact. So it's really, really good for you. We have so much comfort and convenience these days. We live our entire lives in temperature-controlled environments, and thereby we lose some of our adaptability and resilience to all forms of stress in life. So if you can get good at cold exposure, you improve your resilience to all other forms of stress that you face in daily life.
Well, Brad, I mean, I've got so much more to talk to you about, and because we're almost out of time, I want to make sure you talk to everybody about your MoFo, the male optimization formula, and I'm waiting for the female one to come out soon. But quickly, can you describe what it is and how important it is, especially for men?
Oh, thanks. Yes, my product that I've launched with Ancestral Supplements is called MoFo, and it stands for Male Optimization Formula with Organs. And so it's a compilation of animal organs, freeze-dried, perfectly pure from 100% grass-fed cattle in New Zealand. So it's a really high-potency food supplement product. It's not a vitamin or something that's extracted in a laboratory. And so I like that about that. I've been in the supplement scene for so long and taken so many things, and my cupboard's full of stuff, some of them expiring. You wonder, is this money I'm spending worth it? And so it was my goal to increase my consumption of animal organs in the diet, especially liver. We know how important those are, how nutrient dense they are. Liver is believed to be the most nutrient dense food on the planet. Even if you're a vegetarian, you don't like liver, or you don't believe in it, you can't argue with the nutrient density that you get from the family of animal organs, liver, heart, bone broth, these great superfoods that we know are so important. But it's kind of hard to get out there and cook up liver every day if it maybe isn't your favorite food. So I've been taking organ supplements with great devotion for a while. And then we got together and decided to do one specifically for helping to optimize the natural internal testosterone production of the male. So we know what hormone therapy does. It shuts off your own production, and you're locked into an anti-aging journey where you're reliant upon what your doctor's giving you. So this is kind of a different strategy of really optimizing your diet and taking a target supplement that's designed to boost. It gives you the proteins, peptides, enzymes, cofactors, and molecular biodirectors that support testosterone production. Now,
Awesome.
having said that, I also believe that you can waste a lot of money buying important stuff like the stuff you said at the outset of your show for healing if you're not locking into healthy lifestyle habits.
Right.
And so I don't want to be that guy that's selling a bottle of pills for the man to be more manly, but then they're watching too much TV at night. They're not doing that high intensity exercise. They're having a stressful emotional experience with their romantic partnership, which is a great way to kill testosterone. So we created this MOFO mission, and it's a series of 10 assignments to optimize your lifestyle in conjunction with getting on a supplement program.
And Brad, we're out of time. I would love to have you back on and go through all of those because they're so important for everybody. Really quickly, where can people find you and learn more about MOFO?
Oh, thank you, Sarah. It's bradkearns.com. You can find all the stuff I'm doing. That's Kearns, like you can see on your screen right there. And you can click on MOFO and download a beautiful ebook that gives you tremendous details for free. And they'll also follow me on my podcast there, the Get Over Yourself podcast, wherever podcasts are distributed. I love what you're doing. Such an honor to be on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. If I can help you with your issues, email me directly, sarah@acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol for you. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products and my YouTube channel under Accelerated Health Radio. This episode and all my episodes are all on iTunes, iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platforms you subscribe to. Next week, we have Dr. Lori Shemek and her new book, The Ketogenic Key. You can find the supplements and my informational videos on my website, Accelerated Health Products, and you can use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide. Thanks for joining us here today on Accelerated Health Radio, and have a great week.